Have you ever thought about the hidden architects shaping our world? Today, we're diving deep into a kingdom of life that, well, often goes unnoticed, but it shapes our existence in some pretty astonishing ways. And we're kicking things off with a legend, actually, going back to ancient Greece. The city of Mycena, famous for the Lion Gate.
Ah, yes.
Well, the story goes its name, Mycena, might have come from a mushroom. The Greek word mykes. It means mushroom.
That's right.
Some tales say Perseus found one, water flowed from it when he was thirsty, so he founded a city. Others say his scabbard cap the mykes fell off there.
It's a great story, and however legendary, it really points to this long, fascinating history we have with fungi, the whole field of mycology.
Exactly.
It's remarkable, isn't it, how that ancient observation, even if it's mythical, hints at something fundamental. Fungi have always been here. Defining them scientifically, though, that's been a bit of a journey.
Okay.
For a long time, the broad definition was eukaryotic, spore-producing organisms without chlorophyll. So no photosynthesis.
Right, they don't use sunlight for energy.
Nope. They get nutrition by absorbing it from their environment. And they reproduce in all sorts of ways, sexually, asexually. Typically, they form these really intricate, branched, thread-like structures called hyphae.
Hyphae, okay.
Yeah, and these are all enclosed within cell walls. Now, for the longest time, mycologists studied pretty much anything fitting that description. But you know, like how people used to think whales were fish, our understanding evolves. So while we talk about fungi broadly, the true fungi, kingdom fungi, include specific groups. Things like slime molds or Zygomycota, which mycologists used to study, we now know they're distinct. Evolutionary cousins, you could say.
So it's a specific kingdom like plants or animals.
Yeah.
And the sheer scale of it, it's kind of mind-blowing, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Scientists estimate maybe 1.5 million species of fungi worldwide. 1.5 million?
It's a staggering number.
Yet we've only formally described, what, around 69,000?
That's it. Less than 5%.
Wow. So there's this urgent race, especially in the tropics, to find and document them before they're lost.
Exactly. And think about what that means. This vast, undescribed fungal kingdom represents a massive, untapped resource. Just imagine the potential.
New medicines, maybe. Sustainable material.
Or just fundamental biological insights we haven't even dreamed of yet. It's all locked away in those unknown species.
So, okay, we're diving into this kingdom that's vast, vital, and still surprisingly mysterious. We'll explore their biology, their role in ecosystems, medicine, culture. Fungi are everywhere. Let's unpack it.
Sounds good.
Let's start way back. Humanity's ancient connection, long before science labs. People sort of intuitively understood fungi, didn't they? Thousands of years ago.
They did. Think about fermentation. The earliest awareness of that process was all thanks to yeasts, making bread rise, turning juice into wine.
Right, and ancient cultures even celebrated it. The Egyptians linked it to their god Osiris.
And the Greeks and Romans had Dionysius and Bacchus, gods of wine and revelry. It wasn't just about food production. It was deeply woven into their beliefs, their culture.
And it goes beyond just fermentation, right?
Yeah.
Mythology is full of fungi.
Oh, definitely. The Romans, for instance, believed mushrooms and truffles were literally hurled to earth by Jupiter's lightning.
Seriously, like fungal thunderbolts.
Something like that. And you see similar connections elsewhere. In parts of Mexico and Guatemala, some indigenous people still link striking mushrooms, like the trite red Amanita muscaria that's the fly agaric to thunder and lightning.
Huh.
They also used hallucinogenic mushrooms, psilocybe cubensis, in religious rituals. We've found ancient mushroom stones in Mesoamerica that might relate to these ceremonies.
Wow.
And up in the Pacific Northwest, indigenous peoples carved large, hard fungi Fomitopsis officinalis into spirit figures. They placed them on shaman graves, possibly as guardians, and used them as medicine, too. Even Ötzi the Iceman, remember him?
The Stone Age mummy, yeah.
He was found carrying chunks of a fungus, Piptoporus betulinus, maybe for medicine, maybe as fire tinder. Still debated, but it shows how far back this connection goes.
And speaking of mysterious fungi, bioluminescence, foxfire. That sounds incredible.
It really is. Imagine walking through a pitch-black forest and seeing wood, or even mushrooms, glowing with this eerie, greenish light.
Like natural nightlights.
Exactly. People actually used pieces of glowing wood to mark paths at night. There are even stories of soldiers putting it on their helmets to see each other in the dark.
No way.
Yeah. And there's the jack-o'-lantern mushroom, aptly named. Its orange gills genuinely glow in the dark.
Okay, that's fascinating. So, moving from ancient lore and light shows, let's talk about fungi as allies. In our modern world, medicine, biotechnology, penicillin has to be the superstar here.
Absolutely. It's hard to overstate the impact.
If you're younger, it's maybe hard to grasp how revolutionary it was. It came from a mold, Penicillium chrysogenum, and its development really ramped up during World War II. Saved countless lives from infections.
Truly transformative. Penicillin works by stopping bacteria from building their cell walls. It basically dismantles them. And there are related compounds, cephalosporins from cephalosporium. Similar idea.
But it wasn't just antibiotics, right?
Not at all. Think about cyclosporin. It comes from fungi like Cylindrocarpin lucidum.
Ah, the immunosuppressant.
Exactly. It prevents the body from rejecting transplanted organs. It completely revolutionized organ transplantation, turning incredibly risky procedures into, well, almost routine ones.
And the search continues. We're still finding new things.
Constantly. There was a recent report, actually, about a new fungal species found to produce Taxol.
Taxol.
Yeah.
Isn't that the cancer drug? Usually from yew trees.
The very same. Yew trees are a limited source, so finding a fungus that makes it, that could be huge for sustainable production.
Wow. And beyond just medicines.
Oh, yeah. Fungi are like tiny chemical factories. They produce ergosterol, that's a precursor to vitamin D cortisone, the anti-inflammatory. Loads of enzymes used industrially. Alpha amylase for starches, renin for cheese, cellulase for paper.
So they're in all sorts of industrial processes.
Sure. Absolutely. And organic acids like citric acid that's in your soft drinks, and even plant growth regulators called gibberellins. There's enormous effort now in genetic engineering to basically soup up fungi to produce even more of these useful chemicals. Fungal biotechnology is a massive field.
So they give us drugs, industrial chemicals.
Yeah.
But you also mentioned their tools, like for research. How does that work?
That's a really important aspect. Why are fungi so good for lab work? Well, they grow fast.
Okay.
They have short generation times. Their genomes are relatively small for eukaryotes, easier to study. Many exist as haploids, meaning only one set of chromosomes, which makes genetics way simpler.
Oh, simpler genetics?
And you can easily isolate their spores to track genetic crosses. Look at Neurospora, the red bread mold. Studying it helped Beadle and Tatum figure out how genes control enzymes. That was Nobel Prize-winning work, the foundation of biochemical genetics.
Incredible.
And then there's Saccharomyces cerevisiae, just common baker's yeast. It's become like the eukaryotic version of E. coli for researchers. Indispensable for all kinds of genetic and molecular studies.
So we use the whole organism, but also molecules from them.
Right. Even fungal toxins can be useful tools. Phallotoxins from the deadly Amanita phallod's mushroom help scientists visualize actin filaments in cells. Amatoxins from the same mushroom precisely block an enzyme called RNA polymerase II, letting us study how genes are read.
Using poisons for research.
Interesting. Okay, let's shift from the lab out into the wild. Ecosystem roles. Decomposition seems huge.
It's arguably their most critical role. Fungi are the main players breaking down tough stuff like cellulose and lignin, the components of wood, especially in forests.
So they're nature's recyclers.
Essentially, yes. They unlock nutrients tied up in dead organic matter, making them available again. Without fungi, we'd literally be buried under dead trees and leaves.
And some of these decomposers can be enormous, right? The fungus humongous. Ugh, the Armillaria story, yes. In Michigan, there's a single genetic individual of Armillaria gallica covering over 30 acres. Weighs over 10 tons, estimated to be over 1,500 years old.
One single organism. That large.
Yep. And there's an even bigger one, Armillaria ostoyae in Washington. They are some of the largest, oldest organisms on Earth, just quietly breaking down wood underground.
Mind-boggling. But, okay, there's a flip side. Fungi don't just decompose dead wood, they attack living trees and our wood products too.
That's the destructive side, yes. They're constantly trying to reclaim wood, whether it's lumber, railroad ties, telephone poles.
And some are particularly notorious.
Definitely. Serpula lacrimans causes dry rot. It was a massive problem for old wooden warships. The Royal Navy even hired the first consulting mycologist, James Sowerby, back then to deal with it.
Wow.
And it's still a huge issue today, especially in buildings in Europe. Causes damage comparable to termites in the U.S., destroys structural wood floors, and it's not just wood, they attack food too.
Right, food spoilage. But some go beyond just spoiling food, they produce toxins, mycotoxins.
This is a really serious concern for food safety. Certain mycotoxins pose significant health risks. Ochratoxins, for instance, found on cereal grains, are linked to kidney problems in humans.
Okay.
Then you have aflatoxins. These are produced by Aspergillus species often found on peanuts and corn. They are incredibly potent carcinogens.
Carcinogens.
Yeah, causing cancer. Yes, primarily liver cancer. They're strictly regulated in the U.S. for that reason. And fumonisins from Fusarium on corn are linked to esophageal cancer in humans and neurological issues in animals.
That's scary stuff.
And historically, one of the most dramatic examples is ergot, from the fungus Claviceps purpurea that grows on rye.
Ergot. I've heard of that. St. Anthony's fire.
Exactly, holy fire, or
Yeah.
St. Anthony's fire. The toxic alkaloids it produces caused horrific epidemics in the past. People suffered burning sensations in their limbs, gangrene, convulsions.
Good grief.
It likely influenced death rates, maybe even fertility rates. Some theories even link ergot poisoning outbreaks to accusations of witchcraft in medieval Europe due to the hallucinations and strange behavior it could cause.
Wow. But didn't you say some of those compounds are used medicinally now?
It's incredible, isn't it? Yes, some of those same ergot alkaloids are extracted and used carefully in modern medicine to induce labor or treat migraines, from poison to medicine.
Okay, let's pivot from the dangerous to the delicious. Fungi as food. Mushrooms.
Right. The most direct way we eat fungi. The common button mushroom, Agaricus brunescens, shiitake, oyster mushrooms. They're staples.
And they're pretty nutritious too, right?
They are. They actually have a higher content of essential amino acids than most vegetables. Quite good for you.
And then you have the gourmet stuff. Truffles.
Ah, truffles. The underground treasures. Incredibly aromatic, incredibly expensive, hunted with trained pigs or dogs, mainly in Europe. They fetch astronomical prices.
And morels. People go crazy for those in the spring.
They do. Morels or sponge mushrooms. Foraging for them is a big seasonal activity. Though sometimes the hunt for valuable wild mushrooms like the matsutake or pine mushroom, especially for export, gets a bit intense. There have even been reports of mushroom rustling with armed guards.
Armed mushroom rustlers. Okay, but this brings up a really important point. Safety. Wild mushrooms can be deadly.
Absolutely critical warning. Genera, like Amanita, Helvella, contain species that are highly poisonous. Effects range from nasty stomach upset to complete liver and kidney failure. Fatalities are common.
So the rule is, if you're not 100% absolutely positively sure what it is.
Don't eat it, ever. Expert identification is non-negotiable, period.
Got it. Are there other, maybe less common edible fungi people eat?
There are. In South America, there's Cytherea, grows on beech trees, produces these bright golf ball-sized things people eat, said to be Swedish when fried. And in Mexico, there's corn smut, Ustalagomates. It forms these big, gray, distorted galls on corn ears.
That sounds unappetizing.
You'd think so, but it's a delicacy called huitlacoche, or maize mushroom. Highly prized, even showing up in gourmet restaurants in the U.S. now.
Okay, maybe I'll try it sometime. So beyond eating the fungi directly, they're crucial for transforming other foods. Cheese comes to mind.
Definitely. Those distinctive blue veins in Danish blue or Roquefort, that's penicillium. Same genus gives camembert and brie their rinds, and gorgonzola its flavor.
And fermented foods, like soy sauce, miso.
Fungi are key there, too. Racipus, mucor, and others ferment soybeans and grains to make things like miso, tempeh, sufu. It increases digestibility and adds those savory, almost meaty flavors. There's even mycoprotein from Fusarium sold as a meat substitute.
And we can't forget yeast, baking and brewing.
The absolute cornerstone, Saccharomyces cerevisiae. In baking, it produces carbon dioxide gas, makes the dough rise.
Puffs it up.
And in brewing, it produces ethyl alcohol. That's the point, whether you're making wine from grapes, beer from grains, or even fermented milk drinks in some cultures.
But for grains, don't you need to convert the starch first?
Good point. Yes, starches need to be broken down into sugars that the yeast can use. That's done either through malting, letting the grains sprout a bit, or sometimes by using other fungi like Rhizopus or mucor to do the conversion.
Fascinating. All right, let's look at fungi and plants together. It sounds like a really complex relationship, sometimes harmful, sometimes helpful.
Extremely complex and often dramatic. We've seen devastating plant diseases caused by fungi, some introduced accidentally. Dutch elm disease, caused by Ophiostoma fungi, spread by beetles. It wiped out American elms across North America.
Such beautiful trees, gone.
And chestnut blight, Cryphonectria parasitica. It virtually eliminated the American chestnut, which used to be a dominant tree in eastern forests. A huge ecological loss.
Is there any hope for the chestnut?
There is, actually. Ongoing efforts involve breeding resistant hybrids and using biological control, deliberately introducing weakened or hypovirulent strains of the blight fungus that can sometimes slow down the disease. It's a long battle.
And there are newer diseases too.
Unfortunately, yes. Dogwood anthracnose, Discula destructiva, is hitting flowering dogwoods hard. That impacts wildlife that eat the berries and also tourism and the nursery trade.
Okay, so that's the destructive side. But fungi can help plants too, right? Like controlling weeds?
Yes, that's the field of mycoherbicides, using fungi that are natural pathogens of specific weeds.
Like targeted biological warfare on weeds.
Kind of. A good example is Caletotrichum gluosporioides. Spores of a specific strain are sold as Colago to control a weed called northern joint vetch in rice fields. It's more targeted than broad-spectrum chemical herbicides.
Interesting. And then there are the really close partnerships, the beneficial ones.
Absolutely vital ones, mycorrhizae. That's the symbiosis between fungi and plant roots.
Fungus roots.
Right. It's incredibly common. Most plants have them. The fungus gets sugars from the plant, and in return, it drastically helps the plant absorb water and mineral nutrients, especially phosphorus. Some plants, like pine trees, absolutely need their mycorrhizal partners to survive.
So we use this knowledge now.
We do. We inoculate seedlings in nurseries, especially for forestry, to ensure they establish well. It's used in reclaiming land, like after strip mining, and can improve crop growth, too.
And then there are endophytes, fungi inside the plant.
Yes, living inside healthy plant tissues, often without causing any disease symptoms. Many of them actually protect their host plant.
Like bodyguards.
Sort of. They can produce chemicals that deter insects or grazing animals or protect against other pathogens.
But there's a catch sometimes.
There is. Some endophytes, especially in grasses like tall fescue, particularly the common Kentucky 31 variety in ryegrass, produce toxic alkaloids. These are really bad for livestock.
What do they do?
Cause all sorts of problems. Poor weight gain, lower fertility, heat stress, even gangrene in their extremities, fescue foot. These toxins are related to the ergot alkaloids we talked about earlier.
Oh, wow. So it's a double-edged sword.
It really is. Though, ironically, some turfgrass seeds are now sold with these toxic endophytes because they make the lawn more resistant to insects and drought. Good for the lawn, bad if a cow eats it.
Okay, finally, let's circle back to fungi and human health directly. We know they give us medicines, but they also cause diseases themselves.
Yes, medical mycology deals with fungal infections, or mycoses. Now, most fungi aren't aggressive human pathogens, but when infections do occur, they can be very serious, especially for people with weakened immune systems. AIDS patients, people undergoing cancer chemotherapy, organ transplant recipients taking immunosuppressants like cephalosporin. Their defenses are down.
And what kinds of infections are common?
Cryptococcosis is a big one, especially linked with AIDS. Candidiasis, caused by Candida albicans, that's the common yeast, causes thrush. Vaginal yeast infections, but can also become systemic and spread throughout the body in immunocompromised people, which is very dangerous.
And wasn't there that pneumonia agent, pneumocystis, that turned out to be a fungus?
Exactly. Pneumocystis jirovecii, it used to be called Carinae. For years, it was thought to be a protozoan. Realizing it's a fungus was crucial because it changed how doctors approach treatment for the pneumonia it causes, particularly in AIDS patients.
And just for everyday health. Allergies.
A very common issue. Huge numbers of fungal spores are floating in the air all the time. People inhale them, and many are allergic. Air quality reports often include mold spore counts now, just like pollen counts.
And they can cause problems indoors, too. Sick building syndrome.
They can certainly contribute. Mold growth in damp buildings releases spores and volatile compounds that can cause respiratory issues and other symptoms for occupants.
So we've really covered the spectrum. Ancient myths, modern medicine, decomposers, destroyers, food, disease, and we keep coming back to how useful they are for basic science.
It bears repeating. Their unique biology, fast growth, simple genetics, easy manipulation makes organisms like Neurospora and yeast, Saccharomyces, incredibly powerful tools for understanding fundamental life processes. From genetics to cell biology, they continue to drive discovery.
So wrapping this up, what's the big picture for you, our listeners? We've journeyed through the world of fungi, from myth to medicine, forest to food, disease to discovery. They are decomposers, pathogens, symbionts, sources of food and drugs, and essential research tools.
It's truly a kingdom of immense importance. And despite everything we know and everything we've talked about today, the overwhelming feeling is still one of the unknown. with potentially over 1 million species still out there, undescribed.
Right.
It just makes you realize how much more there is to learn. What other secrets, what other solutions are hidden within this incredible, pervasive kingdom of life. It's an ongoing exploration.
A truly fascinating deep dive. We hope you enjoyed exploring the world of mycology with us. Thanks for tuning in, and keep looking closely at the world around you.